I start my mining shift by gathering some preliminary gear and heading down on the shuttle with my fellow miners. Upon landing, we see the ash storm is in full swing, forcing us to wait inside. I take the opportunity to grab some explorer's webbing from the redemption machine and loot the shelter capsules from the extra supply lockers. The sound of another storm comes on fairly quick. I throw out a shelter capsule and hunker down. Oddly, it doesn't actually storm. I mine some more before figuring I should head back to deposit what little ore I've gathered so far. While I'm at the station, I check in with Science to see if they have any satchels of holding yet. No one's there, so I head back down to Lavaland. I stop off at the redemption machine to spend some points on gear in the hopes it'll improve my chances. I opt for an advanced scanner, jump boots, and a gun mod to reduce the cooldown between firing. After getting out of there, just having started mining, I hear the storm coming, for real this time, so I duck into a shelter I'd passed a moment before. I wait out the storm before getting back to it. I come across another miner who's running from a legion. I help him kill it, and he wanders off. I continue mining, opting not to shoot the Gibbonite just in case he's closer than I think. I notice the outside of a Xeno-type structure, but while trying to find a way in, I end up running into 2 legions. I manage to kill one, but its remaining skull, plus the others that are still alive, are too much for me, and I end up staggering away in bad shape. Realizing I'm possibly not going to make it, I make sure my suit tracking sensors are on, not that they'll ever come looking for a miner. Miraculously, I find my way back to the mining shuttle. Heading up to the station, I make use of a medical vendor someone's pilfered to the cargo office. It truly is the land of stolen things. I turn in my ore when I realize from a sharp pain in my head that the auto mender might not be enough. I get to medbay and nobody's there. Not too unusual. I decide to check in with Science while I wait for the doctors. I get to Science to see about a satchel of holding. Luckily, they give me one, as well as a plasma cutter. I chuck my garbage in botany with the rest of the garbage. Heading past medical, I see some assistant is setting up a lot of unnecessary movement-blocking handrails in the hallway. I report them, hoping they find a reason to space them. I get down to the mining base and finish kitting out my kinetic actuator with damage increase and range. Realizing I never did get medical to look at the sharp pain in my head, I head back up to the station, name my gun Skanky 9000, and get to medical. There, the only staff around is the psychiatrist, who I tell about my issue, hoping they're familiar enough to know where the medical doctors are. Unfortunately, the only person actually manning the med bay is useless as far as healing me, which probably says something. I stand there waiting until the psychiatrist awkwardly wanders off. I decide to seek someone out. Entering the surgical area, I see the preoccupation isn't a cult, but a gray alien in the surgery bay. Certainly a curiosity worth investigating. I find myself drawn to watching as well. The nurse eventually notices I'm cramping their style and asks me what's wrong. I tell them my head. They use an auto-mender and then scan me in a painfully slow fashion, letting me know I have minor trauma to my eyes. I ask, what do I do for that? And the nurse says, I have brute damage. I ask if I just wait and it'll go away. They say, they'll ask the CMO, and they run off. While I wait for their return, I watch the fully conscious gray alien in the surgery instruct the doctor on how to remove parts from its own body. I get tired of waiting and leave only to find the nurse hanging out around the hallway. Distraught, I figure my blood will be on their hands, and I'll just go out in a blaze of glory on Lavaland. In leaving, the nurse rushes me and tells me I'm sick. It's infuriating to need medical attention, tell them I need medical attention, wait 15 minutes, not get it, and then have them tell me that I need medical attention. Of course, they're not talking about the sharp pain in my head that I came here for, They're talking about some disease I picked up while I was waiting. The nurse tells me I should drink banana juice. I get snarky and head out. In the hallway, I cool down to decide I'll capitulate and go get some banana juice. Before I do, I figure I should warn Botany. It's probably going to be a priority to grow bananas. On the way, I see the first symptom, which is to say that I honk unexplainably. I let Botany know about the outbreak and that bananas are the cure. Getting to the bar, I ask the bartender for banana juice. He sets out a glass on the counter and I guzzle down. No more honk. Returning to Lava Land, I'm gathering ore at a good clip when a storm begins. Apparently I didn't trigger the shelter capsule right on the first throw, leading me to get a little burned up before one finally deploys and I can get inside. Nothing I can do about it. I examine the damage, eat some donk pockets, and wait for the storm to blow over. Once it does, I follow the trail of dead left by my fellow miners to a golem craft. Inside, I pilfer around their medical supplies before a friendly golem asks me if I'm seeing the blue screen of death on his console as well. I'm not familiar with servicing electronic equipment, let alone golem equipment. But I tell him it is indeed blue screen for me as well. I poke around a bit more and get back to mining, this time making use of the plasma cutter. Another goddamn ash storm. Exiting the shelter, I find more death. This time the remains of another miner. I gather up his brain and look to return home. As I do, I stumble on another gruesome scene, this time with the brain just out of reach, guarded by a blood-drunk miner. I'm not risking it. While I'm pondering my options, some odd shit happens with the AI that the captain announces is a malfunction and seemingly tries to downplay it by suggesting they're prepared. A moment later, we get the alert that there's also a set of nukies on the attack, having deployed a doomsday device somewhere on the station. I throw a GPS to mark the remains of the miner I can't get to and skedaddle back to the mining base, where the lights start blowing out as I walk by. This is some creepy bad stuff. On the station, I walk by the janitor's closet to see the door malfunctioning. I don't know how badly it's malfunctioning until it fries my ass in the hallway. Before getting inside, I decide to drop the brain off in medbay first. Right when I do, gravity cuts out, forcing me to grab onto the walls in order to move through the corridor. I make my way to the maintenance tunnel, gaining access to the janitor's closet from the back. Inside, I see the janitor's unconscious or dead, and drag him out to medbay while the alert timer for the hidden nuke continues to count down. I drop the janitor out in the open and go hunting for the doomsday device. Using my crowbar, I open door after door, office after office, trying to help pin down where the degenerates might have hidden it. The countdown aborts as it seems the traitors hid the nuke on the station by taking it with them when they left. I wouldn't have thought of that. I decide to continue rummaging around the abandoned infrastructure, looking for signs of their nefarious activity, locating the power sapper on a window just above the vault. I stupidly touch it, and it shocks me. As I'm recovering, a naked woman in handcuffs stumbles past. I recover from the shock and step back just as the guy happens along, to which I point out the sapper. He asks me where the woman went. Not sure, I look around with him as he rummages through a room before doubling back. I continue on only to hear screams. Making my way to the source, I see it's a door with someone locked in. I know it's not the naked handcuffed woman. Whoever it is desperately bashes at the door, so I join in. I suspect a hidden wall and begin pressing around. I happen upon the guy that was searching for the woman, telling him someone's stuck. It seems he's found his bride. He gives me some first aid and goes on his way. Going back to the room with the person stuck in it, I see there's a security guard there. They break open the wall, but I don't hang around, figuring it's well in hand with security there. I wander back to cargo. I decide to continue wandering around the station rather than going back down planetside, considering I don't think anyone needs any more ore at this point. I go back to the room they rescued whoever from. and see someone originally drilled their way in from the airlock area. Outside, an engineer assesses the damage. I get to the evac area, where I hear someone suffocating in the lacking atmosphere. I find them laying on the floor. I try to grab an oxygen canister for them, but they croak, and the dude standing by doesn't hesitate a second before putting him into a body bag. RIP. The shuttle arrives and I get on. The usual antics, people throwing avocados, robotic voices spamming compliance, some ominous screams, and me still with the sharp pain in my head. A bird tells me a joke as we land. The end of a long, interesting shift.